In this session, I'm going to talk about the ribbon. The ribbon is a hugely important aspect of Excel, one that you'll use all the time as you're learning Excel. Firstly, it's worth just looking at the structure of the ribbon. At the top of the ribbon, we have tabs or menu items. We can ignore File for the moment because that's not really part of the ribbon. If we go to Home, for example, we can show how the ribbon is laid out. You will see clusters of commands that are separated by vertical lines. And at the bottom of each of these clusters you'll see a name. So for example, we've got clipboard, font, alignment, number, etc. In the Home tab, most of these are to do with formatting, and you'll find yourself using them a lot. To the bottom right hand corner of some of these clusters you'll see a down arrow. This little arrow, if clicked, will bring up a dialog box and it will give you many further choices. If you hover over a cell, for example this U for underline, quite often you will see a shortcut in bold, and very often you'll see some helpful comments below. In this case, underline your text. It's probably worthwhile looking at some actual data, so I'm going to click over to this worksheet which has got some test data in it. I will use this test data to demonstrate some aspects of the ribbon. Firstly, I'm just going to highlight 6 rows. I'm then going to click on the Insert button over here. I've now inserted 6 rows, and I'm going to use this in a minute for inserting an object. But for now, I'm going to do a little bit of formatting, so I'm going to highlight the whole of row 7. So these are the column headers, and I'm just going to click bold up here. We now have made the column headers stand out by making them bold. However, we've actually highlighted every single cell in row 7, and that's over 16,000 cells. If we're working with very large spreadsheets, this is quite inefficient as it uses up memory. So the alternative is just to highlight a single cell and then hold the Shift and Control key down while clicking on the right mouse button. Then we just highlight the cells that we want. And if we then just click on color and put a light yellow color in here, we're just going to have highlighted those cells. So we're being more efficient with memory. If you're dealing with smaller spreadsheets, you don't need to worry too much about this. You can just highlight entire rows and columns. There are quite a few other things we can do here without going into any great depth. What I'm going to do is show you view. We can change the view of this worksheet by just clicking on grid lines, and it gives a slightly cleaner line-free view. We could also click on this first cell of data here and click on freeze panes. If we've got too much data to show in a window, we can now keep the titles, and this will help us to read the worksheet while scrolling down or over to the right. Other functionality that we may well want to use early on is in the data tab. So if we click over here, we may, for example, want to sort the last name field. So all we need to do is go up here and click sort. Then we just select last name. We now have an alphabetical sorting. We may wish, for example, to filter. So if we click on filter, we can now click on this down arrow, and if we just want to see females, we unselect male. Now I inserted some rows at the top for the specific reason I wanted to show you insert. So if we go to insert, we can insert shapes, we can insert graphs, we can insert symbols, we can insert all kinds of things. So I'm just going to click on shapes in a minute here, and I'm going to click on this rectangle. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle, and before I let go of the mouse, have a look at the ribbon, and as I let go of the mouse, you'll see the ribbon change. So the ribbon can be context specific, so it knows that we're working with a shape, and it's giving us a bunch of format options for working with that shape. If I click away from the cell, we'll go back to the Home tab in the ribbon, and we no longer have those options. But if we highlight the shape again, although the ribbon hasn't changed the appearance of it, we still have the option to go back to that specific format. Other things that you may need to be aware of in the ribbon are this search bar over to the right. So if we're not sure where to find something, we could just type in the search bar copy, and if we clicked on copy and we click somewhere else in the spreadsheet and we search for paste and we click on paste, we've copied and pasted the object. The final bit of functionality I think is important just to be aware of. If we click in a blank area, if we right click we'll get a little pop-up, and if we go to customize the ribbon, we can actually change the ribbon. We can decide which headers we want to show in the ribbon. We can deselect, say for example, page layout and formulas. So there we go, the ribbon's now a bit smaller. We could go back in here, customize the ribbon, and we could actually decide to add a new tab. So we've added a new tab there. Now we can bring across any of these commands into the new tab. And if we click OK, we now see a new tab up here with a Format Object tab brought across. So that's it for ribbons for the moment. We'll spend a lot of time talking about them in relation to many other aspects of Excel. Thank you.